Coming up on the Deco Show, Erich, Mietek, and myself talk about embroidery pricing. We have a webinar series coming up, and if you're an embroiderer, you should check it out. Plus, I give a preview of DecoNetwork version 8. All that and more coming up on the Deco Show. The Deco Show is brought to you by DecoNetwork, business software for printers and embroiderers. To find out more, visit DecoNetwork.com. Good morning and welcome to the Deco Show. This is episode 13, recorded October 12th, 2017. I'm Brenden, Product Marketing Manager and Evangelist at DecoNetwork. And as always, we're joined by our team, starting off with Mr. Mietek Vlossen in Atlanta, Georgia. G'day, Mietek. How are you going?
Good morning, Brenden. I really can't wait to discuss DecoNetwork 8 with you today.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We had a pretty good response from the initial video preview we did, so we can go a little bit more detail into that today and show it's real stuff and not just smoke and mirrors. So yeah, it should be fun. Cool. And of course, the man in blue, Mr. Erich Campbell in Albuquerque, New Mexico. How you doing, Erich?
Doing great. And I'm excited to get on to talk about the embroidery pricing ebook. We've had great response there, and I really think we've got some value to share with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Our most popular ebook so far, and rightly so, packed full of info. I think we've got some webinars coming up as well. You're going to talk about as well as a part of that.
Absolutely. I'm going to let everybody in on what they should be signing up for and what they're going to get out of our new webinar series.
Yeah, it should be cool. And I'm definitely noticing some shades of colors happening here. You've gone for all blue, Erich, and Mietek's balancing you out with all reds. So we've got a nice little happy color palette balanced out.
Hey, branding's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've wore blue today. I felt guilty. I didn't wear blue a few times, and you're showing us all how to do it. So
it's like every respectable team. You must have the jerseys for the home games and for the away games.
True.
There you go. Now we just need to decorate all the rest of your gear. You got to watch out because I'll grab everybody's stuff and embroider everything if you don't watch me.
Yeah. It would be fun if I would do it myself. So thank you, Erich, for this offer.
Alrighty, well, let's get into it. We've got a lot to cover today. And Mietek, first up, you're going to walk us through the latest update of DecoNetwork 7.507.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I encourage all of you guys to walk through this process. So as you may know already, we're really working hard on version 8. Brenden released a new video of what the DecoNetwork version 8 is going to be about. Maybe it was like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
Really exciting. That said, that doesn't mean we're not doing anything.
Or getting any sound. Like we've lost your audio there, Mietek.
Yes, we did.
Oh, we've lost Mietek completely.
Mr. Mietek is out.
You see the home run, what do you guys call it? The off team? You got the away team, the home team. Taking his run.
He's the very far away team right now.
Yeah, very far away team. Let's get him back.
Recording live, everybody.
Yeah. Actually, in all fairness, this is our first complete disconnection, so
that's good.
Has done us well so far.
So you will have to cut the chat out that you're sharing.
Yeah.
It's not my day. Yeah, I think he's probably demonstrating to himself right now.
He really may not know because, like, when you're doing screen share, he's got one monitor. He's just got that screen up. Probably thinking it was so engaged.
There we are.
Mietek.
And I was doing so well.
You were.
That's what we said. We probably just lost the best 5 minutes of your presentation ever.
Man, everything was fluent.
It like literally died straight away.
Like
And,
right in.
That's why we sent Tina out there, and she said that you basically dismissed her like you were busy. So he probably doesn't know he's probably
I don't think I have it in me anymore.
That was one of those one-shot things, right? All right, we got Mietek back. That was a funny 5 minutes. We might add a bit of that to the commentary at the end because we kept recording. So a few little bloopers into that one, but it was quite a funny moment.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mention this to you guys, but I just needed a coffee break. But I'm back.
Halfway through stream, when you got to get a coffee, you got to get a coffee.
Well, we know you're such a diva, Mietek. You always just drop out all the time, you know.
No red jelly bean out of there. So.
Never.
Guilty as charged. Okay, so here's the news. 7.507 and a few other numbers after that we didn't release with you
got to
guys.
comment on that one.
No, you know I'm a big fan of the number P, right? So what's happening here is obviously we are working on version 8. This is our main focus right now. We're in the final stages of that work. Pretty exciting, but that doesn't mean we don't do anything in the meantime. As a matter of fact, we always do. And we have released the version 7.507, as I mentioned already. And what you will find in this option is one particularly very exciting option that is called New Responsive Website Template. But I will leave it best for last, and I will actually ask Brenden to present this in the proper way to you guys. But we've also made some other improvements, such as color detection improvement for uploaded screen printing designs. This option in particular, it's one of those options where it's a huge headache for our developers. It's very, very, very important for you guys to be reliable as a business to your end users. But it's really nothing you can show other than it just works better than before. Then we've also added the option email notification for assigning artwork jobs. I will show you this option in a moment. And two latest additions are coupon code discount column added to line item report and the decoration process added to line item report. Highly requested. It actually it's going to give me an opportunity to show you this functionality in the DecoNetwork, as we are being asked for it a lot, especially our sales team. When we are in the sales process, people are asking us, do you have any sort of exporting functionality? How does it work? Every time we show how it works, people are not only happy with this answer, but almost excited, if I can say so. So let's go to DecoNetwork. In DecoNetwork, I'm in my admin section right now. And in the admin section, you will find export functionality under reports, and then you can click on export orders. You will find a number of other reports that you can generate in DecoNetwork. I strongly encourage you to go over this. A lot of useful information for anyone who runs the business on the daily basis. But with the exported data, I want to show you how you can define the information that you can export into the old, traditional, very still useful and popular CSV format that you can open in your Microsoft Excel, for example, or in the Google Docs as well. Before you do the export, we actually define a number of options for you, so you can decide exactly what type of information you will export from DecoNetwork. And for that to do, you will have to click on the settings option, as I did. Number of options in here, but the one I want to discuss because it's related to our latest release, it's called export order item columns. You can also export order columns. The difference between the two is that order columns will just give you one line for the entire order. That will include order number, total, shipping, etc., etc. But export order item columns, it will actually break down each one of your orders to the next level, where you can see every individual item purchased by your clients or end customers. So let's click on this option. And it is extremely flexible. So while we allow you to export a number of information such as order number, order line ID, date ship, date due, and so on, as you can see, tons of information here. You don't have to export everything. Obviously, you can just choose the information that you need specifically for your purpose. And one of those informations that we recently added as per your request was decoration processes. So you guys asked that part of this export, you would really like decoration process to be included as one of the columns, and that's what you can find in here. Okay, very useful. I personally like this option a lot. I know it's being used a lot. It's very flexible, and I strongly encourage you to visit this section of your DecoNetwork platform whenever you have a chance and explore this information, explore this functionality, as I'm pretty sure you'll be able to benefit from it. Okay, another option, as I promised, I will briefly describe in this presentation is you will find under settings, and you can go to the email and order templates. So right now, we've added a new option, and as per this page, it's called email notification for assigning artwork jobs. So basically what will happen is every person that has the artwork job permissions in your system, is the user of your system, will get the email notification when the new artwork is awaiting the approval. Each one of those emails, including the artwork email, is editable, which means you can go to the email and order templates, click email templates, and every single email that is being sent from DecoNetwork, you can actually edit this email. Obviously, we're sending a lot of them, starting with as soon as the order is being made, the email is being sent to your customers. But you also have a number of emails, as you can see, about the payments, about the customer contact emails, store owner emails. And one of them that we're looking for this time is the email that is being sent to one of your team members for artwork job assigned email. If for whatever reason you want to add any custom data into that email, you can just click edit, and you can include some of the information under customize template, and then click on the override default template. Okay, it is the HTML template. However, let me tell you a secret. Don't get discouraged by the fact that this is the coding. Okay, it only looks scary. For as long as you will modify just the black text, not something that looks like this, like the color one, you're safe. So it is perfectly fine to add some extra content, for example, in front of the thank you. Thank you very much. It's perfectly safe to do something like that and just save the changes to that email. If for whatever reason you've made something that didn't work very well, you can always go back to the default template, and you can copy the original template from here and paste that into the customized template, and either start all over or just be happy with how this template looked by default. Okay, so that is it from my end. I welcome any additional comments from you guys, Brenden and Erich, and then hopefully we can also move to the new template that was added in this latest release.
Mietek, quite a lot of that. You seem to drop out again, so we seem to miss most of it. No, I'm joking. We got it all. I just thought
Thank you.
All good. All good.
Yeah.
Now, awesome stuff. Simple improvements, but they do make a difference in terms of workflow and how you're doing things. And we underestimate the amount of value people put into stuff like reporting and getting data out of Deco. So awesome stuff. Thank you very much.
No, those additions to reporting are really going to help people out. I can't wait to see how happy those people who've been asking for it will be.
People
just
love
wanted to say, my pleasure. I'm happy to take the credit for the work our developers did.
Thanks, developers, in case you're watching.
Yes, very much. All right. Well, as Mietek also said, we had another awesome feature released in version 7.507.6472, as Mietek loves to remind us that he does not like. And that is a new theme. It's a version 7 platform theme, which we've done a lot of work on to make it be a bit more mobile friendly and scalable and a little bit more modern and stylish in its view. And it's also a good prep for where we're going in version 8 as well, which is a whole new platform for theming and designing, which we're really excited to share with you and show as well. So I'll click over to my screen, and this is the new theme that we've released, and it's called Clean Responsive, to be creative and undescriptive to what it actually is. And that's pretty much what it is, clean and responsive. And this is running on our demo website, so keep in mind the skin will always look a little bit different on each website based on the content and things you have. But the most important attribute, I guess, of this whole site is the fact that it is nice and responsive. So as your PC or screen or device changes size or width or whatever it might be, the site will just auto scale down and present nicely on that site out of the gate, ready to go, good to go, with your designs, your banners, your images and everything scaling through down onto that next level, but still giving you all that level of control that you need to go in and view the product and see all the information, but again, just all presented in a nice, clean, responsive type style and view. So it's a nice little theme. It's really easy to get started and to put that onto your site. And the best way to do that is we've just released a blog post. Head over to DecoNetwork.com/blog, and it'll be somewhere up the top, or if not, just search for it. But it's called the Applying the New Clean Responsive Template in DecoNetwork. And without going through it and doing it ourselves, just explain there are a couple of little steps you do need to be aware of. Now, there's every possibility you've gone through and you've made some custom changes to your existing theme, and you've done some custom HTML or some custom CSS, and that can have an effect on any new template that you apply. So you basically have to undo those steps or turn off those custom changes. So as you can see by these steps, the first thing is to go through and turn off your existing custom HTML on your existing website. Now, at this point, I do recommend you adhere to the warning and you copy out any of your custom HTML or CSS into just a plain old text file and keep it locally just in case you decide you want to go back or reuse any of that custom CSS later. Then once you've done that, you then go through and turn off your CSS by, again, following the instructions. And with that, you basically set your website back to the default of whatever current theme you're running. And the last step is to select the brand new theme. And again, follow those steps. And it's just called the Clean Responsive template. So again, really simple, really clean, but hopefully answers a lot of the questions. And we think that's probably going to solve 80 to 90% of people's requests of having just a simple, responsive site. And of course, what we've got coming up next with version 8 really kind of takes that to a whole new level and opens up the level of customizing for you to do on that. So I think that's pretty much it for 7507.
That is amazing, Brenden. And quite honestly, guys, if I can say that, you can use the old code, CSS code, but don't. Start with this new template. If you like it, great. If you want to make some adjustments, use this template as a new starting point for you. All the old code will give you nothing but confusion, and it's just not worth it. With the CSS, the level, if you are familiar with the CSS, you know that sometimes it's much easier to create a new code and to try to fix the old code and make it work with something else. So my recommendation for you would be start with this new clean template and keep the customization to the minimum. Your clients are going to your store not for the custom CSS, but they're going there to buy your products in an easy and modern, fashionable way, and that's all of that you can already do with this new template in DecoNetwork.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. It literally only takes one line of dodgy CSS to kill the responsiveness, and you're going back to having a website that doesn't scale properly and defeats the whole purpose of this theme. So, awesome tip. All right.
That's an attractive theme, folks. Really, it's there was a lot of work that went into it, and it shows. It's a beautiful theme, and I can't wait for people to start using it.
Yeah, and it's blue, your favorite color.
Hey, branding all day long.
Actually, easily be changed in DecoNetwork without using CSS.
Yep, sure. Alrighty. Thanks for that, Mietek. A lot of other stuff as well. Probably just another quick point out. If you do go to that page that Mietek did pull up, it was the blog page. So again, head to DecoNetwork.com/blog, and under that main section, there is a whole area called release updates, and you'll find a link to that there. and beyond what Mietek spoke about. If you click on the official release notes, there's a whole stack of other little things that have just, as always with every release, we throw in a whole lot of stuff. It's not just a couple of the big things we talk about, but it's bug fixes, the small things that you've been asking for, and it's all covered under that. So go check that out, and always give us your feedback and your thoughts on what you'd like to see next in our online forums, Facebook, or on Twitter. Talking about Twitter, I think next to DecoNetwork, this guy lives in Twitter. It's Erich, and as always, he loves sharing his ideas and advice, and he's, if I can say, outdone himself with this latest effort with the Embroidery ebook pricing. So, Erich, let us know what you've been up to.
Well, first, thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it. And the thing that I'm especially glad about is a lot of people liked it. The book is called Understanding Embroidery Pricing. And really what it does is give you a high-level overview of the different kinds of pricing there are out there and the things you need to do to price correctly to make sure your business actually profits. And I know people go, well, isn't that the way you price everything? You'd be surprised. In talking to a lot of people, they don't really think about their profit. One of the real key points of this book that I want to make sure everybody gets is the idea of a minimum to maintain. People talk about your break-even number, but breaking even is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to break even and have enough money to work with. So really, yeah, we're going to talk about our expenses in this book, but you want to make sure that you're paying yourself. And that's something we're going to discuss in those pages. Also, yeah, there are local differences. We're going to teach you a little bit, though there are local differences to your market and to pricing. We're going to teach you a little bit more about how you price, the types of pricing, what things you mark up, whether you mark up garments. I know some people do that. Some people have customer supplied garments and they don't mark that up. There are different models inside of this ebook to show you where and how you can mark up and why it makes sense and why some models don't necessarily make sense. As always, there are trade-offs between models, between what's easiest for you to quote, easiest to present to a customer, and what actually is equitable overall. And we're going to cover all that, from flat rate to garment markup to markup based on your hours worked to markup on stitch count. And within this book, it's got a really good breakdown of these basic types of pricing so that you can really understand and get in there. And it's more not telling you how you should price, it's telling you why this pricing was put together, how it works, and it lets you decide what your method is within your own market to price. So, I mean, it goes through to like discounts and digitizing fees. There's just a ton of stuff there, and I could talk forever. But honestly, the best way for you to handle this, if you want to know more about embroidery pricing, is go check out the ebook. It's a free download. Go to DecoNetwork.com/ebooks, and you'll see under there with all the other ebooks that we've released in our recent series. You'll see the Understanding Embroidery Pricing ebook. Throw your information up there, sign up, and you'll get this delivered to you. So honestly, get that PDF, read through it, and we've been taking commentary and answering questions on it, and really the reception's been awesome. So I know it's out there helping people, and I'd like it to help you folks too. So there we are. That's really where we are at the embroidery pricing ebook. Yeah, I've been kind of living on Twitter and Facebook sharing it, but what I've found too is that everybody that I've shared it with, they're sharing it too. So I know that it's resonating with folks.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you covered a lot of this in the book, but what would be, from your opinion, the biggest mistake people do with pricing, and in particular embroidery pricing?
Well, the first mistake is they don't actually ask for or know what they need to profit. That's part of the problem. People go in, and often what they do is look around them in the area that's near them and say, okay, we're charging X amount per 1,000 stitches, so I'm going to charge under that to get jobs. The problem is if it doesn't profit, if it doesn't scale, if you can't make money at that rate, then your business is doomed. I mean, it might be sooner or later, but you're going to fall. I mean, you just can't price in a way that you don't profit. So the thing you have to do is establish your unique value. You sell on that unique value, and you have to price in a way that's going to allow you to grow. Especially when people come from a craft market, they tend to price in a way that doesn't necessarily feature any sort of labor. Especially when they're a solo entrepreneur, they think, I'm going to be the labor, so I don't have to pay for labor. I'll just skim the profits off. That's where I'll make money. But you really need to pay a wage so that when you grow and you need to pay for, say, an operator for that first purchase, or when you need to maybe bring in somebody for sales, if you're going to stay in the embroidery portion of this, then they don't have the money to do that, and they haven't figured it out in their pricing structure. So I'd say that's one of the top things that happens. Another thing that happens is people just really honestly don't know how they're pricing, and they don't check whether that jives with how much time things really take on the shop floor. If you have a single head machine, your throughput is going to be different than if you have a 2 or a 4 head. Or if you have a 12 head, you need to know how much throughput you have and what that means for your production and what things have to what the prices have to be for you to break even and to profit, according to the amount of throughput you can do in a normal day, week, month, year. So not knowing that stuff, not analyzing the way your workflow goes, and honestly, just not pricing for profit, that's the real problem.
Yep. Yeah, Mietek, sorry, you were going to say something. You did your whole
Well,
leading look.
Yes. I just want to say that the best thing about this ebook is that it was written by the person who actually knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because he was doing it for the last 20 years. And I think we shouldn't be ashamed of actually sharing this with the world, that we are in this very small group of people. Because let's face it, there's so many crappy ebooks out there written by people who don't know what they're talking about. And that is just something you can't really tell about us. And you're looking at the Understanding Embroidery Pricing, written by the person who was doing nothing but that for the last 20 years. Not only by himself, but also as a consultant to others. And it can't really get any better than that.
Well, what I have to say too is a thank you to all those people who I did talk to about this, because it's not just me. This experience is culled from years of discussing things. I mean, we all know that I've written for magazines and stuff for years. What you might not know is that meant I have had publicly available email addresses for many, many years, and I've talked to just countless decorators about this. And it's a thing that just keeps coming up. One of the reasons we wrote this is that we continually get these questions. And I continually get these questions via Facebook or on Twitter or via that same email address. So this is something that people asked for. It's something people wanted. And I did my best to try and address the basics. Now, admittedly, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to give you a number that you should charge in this ebook. But that's not really a good thing for people to do. When someone just gives you a number and says you should charge this number, they're not taking into account your local differences, and there really are regional and local differences. They don't know your market, and they might not know the value you have. In fact, what I want to do real briefly before I take this all over is share just a brief little story that I put in the front of this ebook. I was part of a program once where a $6 blank, now we all know for a t-shirt, that's pretty expensive, a $6 t-shirt. That's an expensive, nice t-shirt. It was being taken, it had the labels removed. We printed a tag print label inside the back of that t-shirt, boxed it in a nice little package, and it sold in a boutique blank for $60. It was cents worth of labor, cents worth of ink, and cents worth of packaging, and that went from $6 to $60 in a boutique. The reason I always say that to people is that selling is about value that's perceived. It's not just about labor that's put in, and it's something you need to think about. It's not always going to be a simple equation, and what I hope I did with this ebook is give you not only the simple equations, but the things that you would need to judge about value and to make you think about what you're charging.
So value is a really important question, or a really important topic, because you know, I've been there, you've been there, where sometimes the consumer doesn't really understand the value of what we're trying to create, because hey, we're just printing stitches onto a garment, and I can print stuff on my home in 30 seconds on a printer. So I think maybe yourself or Mietek once shared a story about the company that had that walkthrough on the back of the wall above their sales desk, these little thumbnail images of the entire embroidery process. And here's your raw design. Here's what we do to it with digitizing. Here's how we test it on a sampling machine. Here's how we run it on our final machine. In fact, maybe here's even a video to see the machine in action. So from your years of experience, how do you best communicate the value of what an embroiderer does for their end client?
Well, certainly education like that is very important. When you're a brick and mortar and you literally have people in your facility, we used to do what we called the tour. And I mean, the tour was to take someone who we thought was a good client or a good prospect back through and show them all the production areas. It does mean you have to keep your production areas safe and clean, but in my opinion, you should be doing that anyway.
It's a good habit, yeah.
It's just a good habit. You should keep everything as if you're going to give the tour at any moment. And honestly, what usually happened once people saw the scope of what we did, and they saw and honestly, there is something to watching that equipment move. Sincerely, people see those little embroidery robots chewing away at something, and they get impressed. And honestly, it's not every customer, but many customers were turned just by going on the tour. Now, you can do this virtually. Part of what I've done in my career, certainly, and if you want to measure it that way, becoming a subject matter expert, publishing articles on your own blog that are customer focused, that's about what they need to hear, not what you want to say. Always remember that. That do teach about the process and explain things that you do, that's a good way to do it. But in the end, when you're selling, you're going to have to sell beyond just the labor you do. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that you're providing an experience that's valuable. So you make it easier to order, something that with DecoNetwork we always talk about, because really having that DecoNetwork framework makes things easier to order online by an incredible magnitude. Making it easier to do business, to pay, having nice customer-facing spaces if we're talking about a literal face-to-face contact. Making sure that the experience is good from beginning to end is part of that value. Education is part of that value, certainly, but that's what you have to do. You have to consistently think about the customer experience and make sure you present yourself in a way that shows that you're an expert and does favorably show the work you do. And the benefit of that work to the customer, that's the real cincher on that. It's not just enough to say, look at all this machinery, look at all these things we do, because honestly, if someone else doesn't show them that and still produces a good garment, they may not care, especially the budget shoppers. But the budget shoppers aren't your best clients, and so you shouldn't break your back to get them.
Yeah.
So what you really want to do is make sure you're selling on the benefit to the customer and explain that to them. Sometimes the tour works. Sometimes just being impressive as someone who does decoration or does good quality decoration is enough. But otherwise, it's really going to be about customer experience and helping them understand what that customer experience is and what the benefit is to their lives. They save time and effort if you make it easier to order and easier to pick up, and if you don't have errors. And making that clear and showing that is a part of how you sell.
Yeah. I mean, my own experience is that budget hunting customer is usually the customer that causes you the most pain and problems. Multiple times down the whole buying process line.
Mm-hmm. They really are fickle. The next person with a discount will have their business. They will not stay with you. So honestly, if they come and get your business and you can run the order out of the door and get paid, great. But don't hunt on budget. It never pays off in the long run. There are models where that can work, and certainly contract embroidery, sometimes you really do have to work on your prices and efficiencies. But even then, talking about pricing, if you're a contract person, you really do have to have analysis and understand what time things take and be able to explain why you're valuable, because still, everybody has these machines. The machines are fairly universal and they work well. The things that we do, aside from, there's some subjectivity to digitizing, are fairly universal and work well. You're going to have to sell on more than that. So no matter who you are, whether you are concerned about price or you're selling on value more and you've kind of got more of a retail experience, you're going to have to know what effort you put into things, and you're going to have to think about pricing and think about growth.
Yep.
And that absolutely works. I actually have the experience from the other side of this conversation. As a customer, I received a tool like that. I was impressed. One thing I may add to it is that accidentally this company showed me that they're also doing printing and embroidery for the University of Georgia, which is a big school, my school. I was impressed. I was impressed by you, Erich, saying that you do the digitizing for Better Call Saul series. So yeah. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid of sharing things by accident sometimes, that you do that type of jobs. And you're pretty good at what you do.
Well, and certainly it's something I've always said, and I will say this over and over. You'll hear this every time I'm on the podcast talking about digitizing or selling. You want to show the work that you want to do. And part of what you're doing to show value is to show work that's also valuable to you. So instead of showing work that's difficult that might seem interesting to you as a decorator, you want to show work that's going to also provide you value. But there's nothing wrong, absolutely, as Mietek says, with showing somebody something that is local or that's germane to them. I know that I used to sell very well into restaurants because we had a couple of very high-end restaurants in town that we did work for, and we had their samples up on the wall. And it's just the way that social confirmation works for people. If someone comes in with a new burgeoning restaurant that they want to make popular and they look on the wall and see that you've done the aprons for the really big, expensive, nice restaurant in town or the chain that makes the most money, they think, well, if these people can use them, maybe I should too. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I mean, provided that you don't have, it's a little different. Better Call Saul I had to hold on to until episodes were out. You can't just share everything. That's the kind of stuff you have agreements about. But when you're talking about local business, you're talking about the university, put those samples up and show them. It's worth being proud of that. Besides, you put work into that too. That's part of your capital. So yeah, absolutely share that work.
Yeah, deck out your showroom. That's what the showroom is for, to show your work. So absolutely.
Absolutely. Customer-facing spaces, you can't underestimate those when you're a brick and mortar. You really can't. I can't tell you how many times locally we won contracts after somebody went to a less clean environment in another shop. And I'm no naming names, but there are people where boxes everywhere, food in the display cases, stuff that you just don't want to see. And so really it makes a big difference. People will leave over those things, especially if there's some other problem with their order. They just will determine that the overall experience will help kick them over the line.
Yep, absolutely. And always good tips. Now, as a continuation of the ebook, we have a special embroidery session series coming up. Do you want to give us a bit of an update on where we're going with that?
Absolutely, and this is something that you're definitely going to be involved in. So people who are fans of Brenden getting online with this, remember he'll be there too. It won't just be me talking. But we've got our 10 Days of Embroidery series coming up. So from October 24th through November 3rd, every day we're going to have either webinars, posts, something related to embroidery. So this is really focused on all you stitchers out there. We'll have not only the embroidery pricing webinar, which is going to cover what was in the book somewhat. I mean, I can't cover as much as in that book, so I can't stress enough that you go down and download the ebook when you can. But we're going to cover briefly some of that in the webinar and maybe a little extended stuff that's not in the book. And beyond that, we're going to go into DecoNetwork for embroidery. So if you've ever wondered about the embroidery features of DecoNetwork, which are really high level, we have a lot of tools that are very specific to embroiderers and that I'd really like you to see. Don't want to discuss all of it here because when you get to that webinar, you'll get to see it in much better detail. We're going to be doing that on that Wednesday, October 25th. We're going to do a little bit on embroidery for caps. I know it seems like, hey, well, you guys are at DecoNetwork, you're doing online stuff. Why are you doing embroidery for caps? It's like, well, because we want to help you. This is a question that we get all the time. People have trouble with caps and don't know what to do with them. Headwear's a problem. I've written countless articles on it. So we're doing this just to help you guys with your production. So we're doing that October 26th. We'll be doing the Thursday embroidery for caps session. And the last one's going to be small lettering. It's something that I have never stopped talking about. Ever since I started sharing that as a digitizer professionally or teaching, there's always a discussion about small lettering. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday, November 1st to kind of wrap that up. So we've got these webinars coming up. There's going to be posts on the blog as well in between. So I just can't stress enough. Get on there, get on that 10 Days of Embroidery. We're going to have a lot for you. And maybe not every session's for you, but check into the sessions that are. And I would really welcome you if you're ever curious about how DecoNetwork works with embroidery. Get in on that Embroidery with DecoNetwork session, and you'll get really a hands-on look at those features.
Yep, and we should have a lot of fun. I mean, it's always good sharing knowledge and information. And, and you're spot on. I mean, this podcast, while it is designed for DecoNetwork users and sharing the new tips and what we're doing, it's also about giving general advice back, selling, embroidery, digitizing, machine operating, whatever we can get into. And as their business is more successful, it's only good for this industry. So thanks again.
Well, yeah. Then honestly, everybody knows who's seen it. Brenden and I like to geek out about embroidery and talk about it. So we have a lot of fun too, and we like sharing with you guys. So we're excited for you to be there and see the webinars.
Yeah.
And that's once again, that's it. DecoNetwork.com/10 Days of Embroidery should be up. So we'll have all that information for you when you don't want to check in.
And yes, it is free. We actually had a person asking for it on our Facebook page. Are you guys giving this away for free?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard that now several times about the ebook. Everybody thought we were selling the ebook. And in fact, what somebody said was like, oh, I didn't know DecoNetwork was getting into publications. And I'm like, no, that's free. Just go download it. Go sign up and we'll send you the link. And they were just dumbfounded. So yeah, really, go get it. It's free. It's not just a 5-pager either. It's a fairly decent sized ebook. I know people will see these promotional ebooks. You get 3 or 4 pages of ebook and it's mostly ads. We've got one little blip in there to show you a little bit about DecoNetwork. The rest of it, 20+ pages of just talking about pricing. So jump in there.
It's actually interesting how people, because with a lot of those ebooks out there, you sometimes find that those ebooks are, as a matter of fact, some sales crappy stuff. Yeah, and with us, it's actually the opposite. People are asking, why didn't you mention DecoNetwork more in those ebooks? That's what I actually need next. And we understand. Perhaps we're going to give some value, add some more DecoNetwork oriented ebooks in the future. But this is actually all about embroidery. It's all about,
it really is.
Not really about us directly. I mean, and indirectly, well, yes, we want to benefit from it like everyone else, but we just believe in the honest, good work to be done.
Well, and really, if you check into it and you do see the small bit of advertisements in there, it's about the things that we can do with embroiderers on DecoNetwork and why it's useful for you. So it's really about giving you the information out there in the decoration world about what decisions you need to make, whether it's about pricing or whether it's about coming to DecoNetwork. So, it's just good information. It's there for you to make your decisions.
And we should have a lot of fun. So again, head over to deconetwork.com/10-days-of-embroidery. We'll also put it on our blog, and we'll put it on Facebook, Twitter, and I'm sure Erich will have it all over his feed as well. So head over there. Yeah, you will have to register for each of the webinars separately because they are individual sessions that we run, and you can pick and choose. But if you are a subscriber to our newsletter, which is deconetwork.com/newsletter, you'll also get updates on that as well and be told of all these and future ebooks and webinars and series we plan on running and hosting. So it should be fun. All right, now for our final session, we'd like to keep this under an hour, but we never ever do. So we just have to keep moving on. Look, there's been a lot of demand for this, a lot of talk about this as well, and we've made a lot of changes, but changes for the good. And of course, I'm talking about DecoNetwork 8. It originally started out as we need a nice, responsive website and designer, and then we soon realized, well, that's a band-aid, because what people really want is the level of flexibility to go in and build their own gorgeous, awesome, responsive website and design. So we've invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, and quite frankly, a lot of money in developing a complete new website design platform. And 2 days ago, I think it was, we released a video preview of what you can do with the new platform and design a site. It's kind of sped up just to kind of show the process on how things work. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to go through and give you a bit of an update and preview of exactly what we're doing and how it works in version 8. So guys, if we're ready, I can quickly go and do that now. So this is version 8. I will insert my beta clause. This is still in development. Now, the developers are technically asleep right now, so they won't hopefully break it halfway through my demo like it sometimes happens when I'm doing these live code stuff. But this just gives you a bit of an overview of what we're doing, and this is running on my demo website. I'm going to point out a few of the things that are new and different compared to what you're used to today in Deco. First of all, we have this entire new design page mode that when you go into your website and click on website pages, you get taken to this entire full screen live preview of your website while you're designing it. And that just gives you complete context as while you're designing. You're not imagining what that result will be. You'll actually see it and how it looks and how it feels and how it responds and what the colors look like and all the settings as you're doing it. But also, we've also exposed what we call the system pages and other pages in Deco to be edited as well. So you can preview each of your page, like the contact page or the about page or your quick quote page, or you can go down and modify your users page or your checkout pages or your product page or your commercial page. We've exposed all of those and given you access to go through and modify each one of those as you go along. But I'm going to click over to my home page, or I can make a brand new page. So we'll call it the podcast page. And this now creates a brand new page for me. I'm just going to do a few small things just to show you some of the new tools that we have available. First of all, now everything is all widget based. So you basically get a blank page that has, at a high level, some main sections: your header area, your body area, and your footer area in different columns, which, by the way, are all completely customizable and can easily be adjusted and modified by just simply in dragging and moving things around on page. But we have over here, first of all, your high-level design section. And in this section at a top level, you can specify things like your name, your logo, your design name, your icons. You can specify your high-level colors and fonts. So what font are you using in your header? What is the color? What is the gray bar color? What is the body color? What is your heading colors? What do your different buttons look like? Your standard button, your minor button, your important button, your hero button, your add to cart button. What do your input fields look like? And what are their colors and their border colors and everything like that? And going all the way down to page options, whether you show your search box or your breadcrumbs or things like that. It's all easily editable on this one single screen. But the real fun part is this widget section down the bottom here, which is a library of little web components, banners, images, text headers, forms, things you can drag and move onto your page to dynamically build a website. So in the video example I had a nice header at the top, nice image, button, some text, and a bit of content down the bottom. And I'm going to quickly do that in real time just to show you kind of how it works and what happens. So the first thing I want to do is up the top here is I want to insert a brand new row, make it full width, and insert a banner. And we have these predefined columns available in 1, 2, and 3. You can adjust it, make it more if you want. I'll drag in my column 1 widget and I'll place it at the top of the website there, and it dumps in a new row for me. Now, next thing I want to put in is a background image of this row. So I'll click on the row setting and row settings, and I'll click on the background tab, and you've got this really cool floating toolbar as well. And I'll go into background and I'll choose to upload an image. Now, we have available a whole bunch of stock designs that you can pick from, which are industry related imagery, or of course you can upload your own, which I've done already. And I'll go grab that previous image that I used, which is this one here. And I'll select that, and it brings that in. Now, here is my background here. I can just simply drag this line here and increase the width of this column so I can get a nice preview of that border. I've got different layout options, whether it's constrained or stretched or original or the classic cover. And I can make it be bottom center or top left or nicely centered as well. But at the moment, it's kind of stuck on the edge. It's not kind of going full width. That's because under the background section, under stretch, I don't have my background to fill the page. So I want the content to stay in the middle, but I want the background to fill. So I'll just simply tick that on, and that fills in that whole entire image in the background. And I can make it a little bit bigger, but I've still got this nice center content area in the middle. But if I tick that on, my content will also go to the edge as well, which I actually don't want here. So I'll untick that. Now I've got my nice background image done, and I'm ready to add some content to this area here. Again, click on widget, and I'll bring in my page header, and I'll drag that in there. And I'll click on here, and I'll put 20% off all. And I want to put another row below that. So I'll click on another widget, bring in another header, and drag that in below that. And I can put here adult tees and put a full stop. Now, each one of these can be edited, so I can come in here and choose my style for this header. And it's only 28 because I'm using header style 2. I can make it be header style 1 or 3, but I'll keep it at 2, and I'll just increase that size a little bit, make it be about 49. And I'm happy with that color. And I'll do the same for that next one as well. And as you can see, you're getting that live preview. So again, I'll drag that up to be about 49, or I can type in 49. I might make this one black just to give a little bit of contrast to that. And again, you can see the live preview while you're doing things. And I'll increase that font thickness, make that to be 700. And that gives me a nice little contrast there as well. Now, the next most important thing when you're building a banner or a top area is you need an important thing called a call to action. Why do I want someone to do something, or why are they there? And I'm going to make my call to action be a simple button below here. So again, I'll add another widget, locate the button widget, drag that into place underneath there, or maybe in between those words or on top, anywhere you want, but I'll put it down the bottom. And again, it comes in with my default banner style. Under design, I can choose to be standard, minor, important, hero, or add to cart. And again, these styles are taken from that design section down here where the original comes from, or on a button by button level, you can individually style a particular button. So I'm going to first of all change my color to this button, be a orange type color. So I've got a nice bit of contrast and a call to action that someone can hopefully pick up on. And I want to change my button, instead of click now, to be shop now. And I want that to be adjacent or aligned on the right. So alignment to, the left. And over here. Now I can even do a rollover effect. So under design tab, I can choose a different color for my hover background. And when you mouse over, it goes pink or yellow or whatever you want it to be to add that level of contrast. But at that point, I'm pretty much done. That is literally a live banner that I've just created that is always mobile responsive. So as I'm previewing it on my different devices, you see it scales down and previews nicely on each one of those devices. And I can tweak my layout slightly for each one of those devices as well. And I'm going to come down here, and on that last section here, I'm going to insert another widget.
The preview option, Brenden, is also part of this, right?
I'm sorry?
Just a comment, the preview option that you can actually see how is this going to look on your mobile devices, it's also part of this platform. of this
Correct.
technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got that ability to preview that on those different devices. The other big change that we've done, which I know people are gonna love, is in the old days of DecoNetwork, as you built it, it was literally live. You couldn't work on something in the background. In the new version of version 8, you can just save it away without publishing it. So I can literally just save those changes, but they're not published live. And I can have multiple versions of it as well. So different home pages that I'm working on. And only when I'm ready to go live can I save and publish. And then that instant website change has gone live and people can see it and get instant access to it, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Sincerely. That's really cool.
Yeah. The amount of time that I've tried to design something and think, I've got 10 seconds before I know another customer is going to jump on and see that change. I better make it quick.
Yep.
I can spend hours on it and get it done as I want. So,
or even creating an affiliate store, right? Just for testing purposes.
Yep, absolutely. The other really cool feature, so again, I'm going to come down here and add a new content here. So add a widget and bring in my blank product widget and simply drag that on screen and it pops in and instantly you get a real preview again of what it looks like. Now, at the moment, my widget is set at 200 thumbnail size, so I can blow that up and make it be 300 or 350. And again, it updates for you live. Maybe I think they're a little too close to each other, so I can go into the layout area and go into the spacing and increase it to be a medium spacing or large spacing, or maybe specify my own custom spacing and make it be, exactly 60 pixels spacing. It's pretty large, but you can go through and set that if you want. It's all clickable on screen. And maybe I want my prices to be below that. So again, back into my design area, click on the pricing location and show the pricing below the product. So they sit nicely below that. Or maybe I want it to be on the product. And when you do a mouse over, it actually displays on top of the products. Again, you click it and you preview it and see that change live as you go about that. And again, you can add as many widgets as you want. And we've got a whole library of them, from your blank products to your designs to your category. Maybe you want a category structure down the left side. Maybe you want to insert an image or do a sliding banner or do a collage gallery, or maybe you want your login button over here, or Google Map to locate where you're going to go, or add your Twitter feed or your Instagram feed or whatever it might be. You can click on all these options and instantly it comes in with all your content ready to go and lets you build a website by simply drag and dropping it on screen. So really simple. And another really cool feature is an undo button. So you can go back and undo all those changes you've done and get back to where you were at the original state and point, which I know I need quite a lot because I make a lot of mistakes when I do things. So yeah, just a teaser, just a preview, and we'll give more updates on our blog as we go along. DecoNetwork.com/blog. Of course, if you sign up to our newsletter, we'll give you new updates in that as well. So that's it, guys. Version 8 and where we're heading. Alrighty. So I think that's about it for today's show. Always, we're going to finishing off with one of our favorite segments, which of course is our Where's Erich?
With
Well, that was quick. What's ahead?
with Erich.
This is Eric Campbell from DecoNetwork. And where am I at today? Well, I'm thinking about branding. Now, I've been made fun of once in a while for being blue from head to toe, as you see here. But the truth of the matter is, when you go to meet your clients, especially as a decorator, you have to show that you have trust in the thing that you're trying to sell them. You are a walking billboard, right? It's what you're always saying to a client. This is part of your branding. This is going to make you look professional. Well, you need to look professional too, and the best way is to wear your own product. So I might be the man in blue now, and that might be something that somebody makes fun of. But the thing is, people remember what this looks like, and they have trust, and they know that here I am, and I'm from DecoNetwork. You see the logo, you see the tagline, and you know who I am, and you know what I'm here to do. So think about it. It might be a little weird the first time, but you'll get used to the fact that this is a conversation opener. So from here at the DecoNetwork headquarters, I'm just going to recommend to you, get some branding for yourself, and know that that trust will bleed down to your client.
And thank you again, Erich, always for your insights and wisdom. And I don't know why my computer didn't like your intro. We'll have to figure that one out. Anyway, thanks guys for joining us. Thank you, Erich, Mietek, and everyone. And we hope you have a good day and tuning into the Deco Show. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening, everybody.